Well, this is my name is Michael Baril. I currently live in the town of Uxbridge. And everybody in Warren, Massachusetts knows who Michael Baril is. There's no doubt about that. So the reason why I'm doing my video now is to basically explain about the 2015 town voter fraud matter that has never been exposed to anybody in Warren except a few select people that know. So all you voters, taxpayers, residents, anybody in the town of Warren, this is an open video to now publicly explain, and this video stems from basically the need for the public and everybody in Warren to know what exactly happened behind your back that you don't know about, of what happened in the 2015 May election. So I have decided, in accordance with my legal advice, to start a video series now on YouTube that is going to be called "You Already Paid for It, But You Don't Know It." So there's lots of things that have happened since, I would say, 2007, all the way to currently today's date, July, I don't know what today is, July of 2017. I should have looked up the date before I did the video, but anyhow, so behind me here are excerpts and documents that I'm going to explain after I do this little speech that basically discuss the voter fraud, conflicts of interest, ethics issues, and your tax money paid for it, but you don't know it. And that's the reason why I decided to come up with that series. So the first thing I'm just going to briefly discuss with you is this postcard. So all of you remember in 2015 that this postcard was mailed to everybody. That's me, obviously. And the controversial part about this postcard was actually this phrase right down the bottom, where it says, "Paid for by the Warren Citizens Action Committee." Now here's the other side of the postcard, as you can remember, and it has the same comment on the other side as well. And the voting was obviously May 5, 2015. So here's one thing that you do not know about this postcard. I'm just going to go into this and then I'm going to explain it in detail on the board. Is this phrase that raised so much controversy that people in Warren, whether you hated me or liked me or didn't like me, which obviously I have the proof of the people that didn't like me behind me, which I'm going to publicly show now. They started you people started a slander campaign and said that I was committing fraud by having this phrase at the bottom. But what everybody in the town of Warren, or probably 99% of the population, doesn't know is this postcard, that error, that typographical error, was not my fault. And right up here, which is right here, is the email from Turley Publications, and it was an employee within Turley Publications that went into the computer system, and this phrase was not on the postcard when it was approved prior to being printed. Somebody went in, an employee of Turley, went into the computer system and added this phrase, and then the postcard was printed, and when it was to be picked up at Turley Publications, it was asked saying, why is this phrase at the bottom, when the approval did not have this phrase at the bottom 1 or 2 days prior to the postcards being picked up. Turley Publications, basically the short version is Turley Publications admitted in a public document, which is right there, that they were the ones that were at fault and misprinted the postcards. They have not, over several interviews and emails and public records, they have failed to identify the individual who put this phrase in there. So the lady who designed the postcard did not type that in there. Another employee opened the computer file and then added that in there and didn't tell anybody. That was an admission from Turley Publications. So Turley Publications is basically generally liable in pending litigation coming up shortly for the misprint in the postcards and deceiving the residents of Warren. But it went viral on social media and Facebook. Matter of fact, I don't know exactly when it was, but it came out in Facebook that I was committing fraud and that people shouldn't vote for me. So I went twice in front of the selectmen and told them about that. But of course, it is not in the Town of Warren meeting minutes. And I did hand this to the selectmen. It is not in the meeting minutes. So, of course, the selectmen who were there in 2015 and James Gagner, who won against me, did not want that in the meeting minutes because then it would show that the voters of Warren were deceived by James Gagner and the current Board of Selectmen. So, anyhow, so I have a very interesting document I'm going to read to you, so I'm going to put the postcard down. I'm done with that. So, I'm going to top this video off with a very exciting email, and I'm going to bring it up to the camera here. So this is an email to State Representative Todd Smola. It says 2014-2015 Warren campaign election tampering. Sorry, it's backwards. Tampering. And this email, as you can see, is dated May 15, 2017 at 12:48 a.m. in the morning. Here is Todd Smola's email address right there. It says, Representative Smola. So I'm basically going to read this to you. And the reason why I'm reading this in the beginning is because now I'm going to, within less than hopefully 3 minutes I've spoken, explain to you what exactly happened in both elections, 2014 and 2015. Mike Baril of Uxbridgeshire, a short-time resident of Warren in 2015. It has been a while since we last emailed and or talked about this, but I wanted to officially inform you of the outcome of our past conversation about the Town of Warren problems. As you know, I ran for candidate for Board of Selectmen in 2015 with James Gagner, who took out papers after I was the only one just right before the deadline, which that's true, and I have those documents, that Jim Gagner was not running for selectman when I took out papers. It was after I left the town clerk's office that Nancy Lowell, who admitted in a public statement in public town records, in your own town records, not my records, your records, that show that she phone called Chief Spakowski and said that I took out papers and was the only one running for selectman. And according to the timestamp on your paperwork, I don't remember the exact number, but 35 minutes later, Gagner went down there and pulled out papers, and his papers were time-stamped only after the town clerk notified a public official that I was the only one running for selectman, and the deadline, I believe, was the end of that day or the following morning or something. So that is how Jim Gagner got involved with the elections. He wasn't running because he wanted to help you. He was told by the chief of police, Bruce D. Spakowski, who's not a resident of Warren, wanted him to cover his ass and protect his ass because his contract renewal was up the following year. And people in town knew that I was not in favor of renewing the chief of police's $90,000 plus year contract for working less than 10 hours a week. I was not in favor of that because he was wasting taxpayers' money, and I'm not going to go into those issues, these additional issues, but anyhow. So now here is the truth of May 15, 2017, of me sharing this with Todd Smola. And I never got a response back from this, which is fine. I'm sure Todd Smola didn't want to get involved with this. I did get a response back from a senator's office who basically saying that this is certainly out of control, it shouldn't have happened, and they did not want, their office was not responsible for informing the residents of Warren that you had voter fraud and election fraud and campaign tampering, and advised me in public records to take legal action against the individuals personally involved, as well as since taxpayer funding was used to campaign against me, your money was used, which is what this is going to go over, your money was used to not get me elected. So nobody knows that your taxpayer money went to help the crooked people to get in there. So that is now being exposed, and that makes the town of Warren, its insurance company, and anybody else, including the police department, which is owned by the town. It makes the town financially and criminally responsible for the fraudulent activity that it participated in. So let me continue on with this. So here's the short version of the truth. As you recall me telling you, I was harassed and endured death threats on a website named michaelbaril.info. Back in 2015, and Mary Belrose was also targeted, as well as other Mike Baril friends living in Warren. After a lengthy investigation, and that's why I've been quiet in Warren, in case you were wondering why hasn't Michael Baril been around since 2015 when he ran for selectman. You saw me at the May annual town meeting, and then I disappeared. Well, I disappeared because of what I'm about to read, and I also disappeared because I needed to basically get legal advice on how to proceed with my matter and seek restitution over this whole entire matter. So I'll continue on. Okay, so here are the results for the residents of Warren that were swindled in campaign and election fraud. Number 1, you're going to love this one. A subpoena that was issued to the GoDaddy.com web hosting records revealed that the person who purchased the domain, michaelbaril.info, which I call is the terroristic anti-Mike Baril hate website, and paid for the web hosting package, was none other than Warren Police Detective Mark J. Chase. Mr. Chase's credit card billing address comes back to his fellow office co-worker's address in Southbridge. And Mark Chase used to live on Worcester Road in Southbridge. The town, now you're going to love this one, folks. The town has additionally refused to confirm that the credit card number in the GoDaddy.com records belongs to the town of Warren, as Mark Chase was issued a town credit card under the town's tax ID number for fuel and gas. I've asked 4 or 5 times if that credit card number belongs to the town of Warren, and nobody in the entire town will provide me any information or confirm or deny that it is his personal card or the town credit card. If it's the town credit card, that means that Warren taxpayers already paid for the website against me and also responsible, criminally and civilly responsible for those death threats because it's your credit card. Taxpayer money. Number 2, the account holder name in GoDaddy.com was none other than Jimmy Jones, also known as James Gagner. Well, that's funny. James Gagner was the one that was running against me. So isn't that interesting now that it comes out that James Gagner and your police detective, who is a town employee, officially working, being paid by our tax money and your tax money, was the one running the website, in addition to Bruce D. Spakowski himself, the chief of police. So I find it very funny. Those 3 names are magically on the are named. Number 3, the webmasters who designed and edited the content on the website was both Mark Chase and James Gagner. So the individuals responsible for the death threats, all the content about Warren residents, I'm not going to name you. Another woman I spoke to, you know who you are. The one who used to, I'll just say this, the one who used to own the spa. Your name was on there. You were trash talk. You were threatened. Another female resident from Warren, who I'm not going to get into the detail of that, who was victimized by Mark Chase, who Mark Chase did some inappropriate things. I'll just leave it at that. She was victimized in this website and called a hooker and slut and other inappropriate things. And it turns out Mark Chase was actually, the town and Mark Chase were actually sued by this individual. And since Mark Chase and James Gagner were the webmasters, none of the surprise that Mark Chase would vent his anger on somebody that previously sued him years before. So, number 4, the 3 primary individuals who operated the anti-Mike Baril website was Mark Chase, who was then an employee of your police department, James Gagner and Bruce D. Spakowski. Mark Chase listed Bruce Spakowski as an additional authorized user to access the GoDaddy.com account. So if you're thinking about complaining to anyone in the town of Warren about election fraud, well, you have a problem because you can't go to the chief of police, because all three of those individuals, including 2 law enforcement officers who should know better, and then the person running against me probably didn't think you'd get caught, but that's what subpoenas are for, and that's why GoDaddy.com provides records. Number 5. With above, the individuals responsible for the website death threats was the same 3 individuals. Mark Chase, as an employee of the town and personally responsible and criminally negligent. James Gagner, now as a current Board of Selectmen member in 2015, because the website continued after the election. So the website was still maintained and edited when James Gagner was officially a Board of Selectmen member and in his official capacity with the town of Warren, and could be criminally and civilly personally sued, as well as Bruce D. Spakowski, same thing, criminally, personally, with the town police department as the chief of police, should not have engaged in any of that. So, in conclusion, the harassment and death threats from the website to myself, Ms. Mary Belrose, and others was done during official employment in their capacity as town officials while being paid by us and you, the taxpayers, by the town of Warren, now making the town extremely 150% liable for legal action, including criminal gross negligence. 2014 election, something you don't know. Now I'm going to go into this, and there's going to be another video on this. New evidence obtained in 2017 proving the fraud in 2014. Brian Corvo, in the end of 2016, filed a personal small claims lawsuit in East Brookfield District Court against Robert K. Downing and Ken Lacey. Chairman Dario Nardi filed a Maya general liability insurance claim and authorized Maya, an additional town council, to activate private counsel to defend Mr. Downing and Mr. Lacey in court, spending taxpayer money to fund private lawsuits against private individuals as individuals. Brian Corvo was not suing them in their official capacity and was not suing the town of Warren in its official capacity. They were private individual lawsuits, and each activation of Maya counsel against both these individuals is a $10,000 one-time deductible invoice. So Maya being activated for a current employee or a current representative of the town, and 2, a past chairman of Board of Selectmen, Mr. Downing, was able to get town council at $10,000 of our taxpayer-paid money. I'm not going to go into great detail on that. I've asked the town at least 7 or 8 times for copies of those invoices. They keep denying they paid them. I don't have copies of them. I tried to get copies. According to Maya, in my correspondence through records, the town had to pay $20,000 in invoices before Maya was activated. So I cannot explain to you how and who paid the $20,000 for Maya to be activated in a small claims that had nothing to do with town official capacity. So anyhow, the results from the East Brookfield court were shocking. Counsel for the town of Warren, you paid for it, remember that, already paid for it. She interviewed Mr. Downing and admitted he used taxpayer funds of my money since 2009, since I own the land and paying real estate taxes, and your money, who admitted he used taxpayer funds and ordered Mr. Ken Lacey to trespass on private property on Reed Street, in turn by committing larceny under 250 by stealing the signs of Brian Corriveau that he had permission that were up on private property off trees. Mr. Lacey then turned the signs into a current selectman, who in turn threw them away in the town dumpster at the Shepherd Building. Okay, interesting. We have a... Okay. The court then scolded Warren Town Council, who is the Maya representative, not the Town Council of Coperman and Page, but the Maya lawyer, and agreed that Mr. Corriveau, that... Oops. Excuse me a second. Okay, and that the town and its employees engaged in criminal behavior in the theft of signs of other candidates. Mr. Downing also abused his authority as a current Board of Selectmen member in ordering a town official to steal signs on private property, and it turns out the signs, which were directly across the street from Mr. Downing's house on Reed Street. The evidence proved in court that Mr. Downing and the entire board also participated in gross negligent behavior, as they were an accessory to the crime. The court dismissed Mr. Corriveau's 2 small claims cases because the small claims cases were not the proper legal procedure to sue over the theft of signs, and told Mr. Brian Corriveau that he needs to file a tort claim against the town, and suggested a potential amount of $500,000 or so. A tort claim would be the legal procedure to seek damages, including the engaging of criminal behavior in the theft of signs of other employees while in official capacity as town employees. And Mr. Downing also violated several sections of his civil rights in the election matter. In 2014, this is when Mr. Downing obviously wanted, quote, Dario Nardi, end quote, to win, to be sitting next to him on the Board of Selectmen, not Brian Corriveau and not Mary Belrose. The election was obviously fraudulent, and that was 2014, and I just explained to you what happened in 2015. So here's something else. I'm not done yet, and then here's the very interesting part. So none of you know this part, and I'm going to read this. On 9/23/2015, you, meaning Representative Todd Smola, and Senator Ann Goby signed a letter that was written to Worcester County District Attorney's Office addressing the life safety concerns of Mary Belrose and Mike Baril that included my personal safety, that our lives could be in danger. While DA Joe Early's office is obviously at fault and dropped the ball, and is also, their office is now criminally negligent. After the result of the DA's subpoenas of the DA public records and email system, as well as several public records requests by several parties, including myself, Mary Belrose and my correspondence was in fact received by their office, and that our lives were actually in danger, and we were in danger of both being harmed by the individuals named on the website, Bruce Bukowski, Mark Chase, and James Gagner. There was also an additional complaint by me that included Uxbridge Police Officer Josiah Morissette and the Uxbridge Chief of Police, sorry, I can't remember his name, Chief Laurie, Jeffrey Laurie. It was my attorney back then that ordered me to terminate my residence in the town of Warren and move out of Warren immediately because of the discussion in emails of a future plan on how to, quote, accidentally, end quote, shoot and kill Mike Baril, that's me, and make it look like I attacked law enforcement personnel and it was a justified police shooting. Nobody knows that except the records now prove that. DA Joe Early is personally responsible now for the gross negligence on failure to protect myself and Ms. Mary Belrose of said discussions in which death threats were discussed in public records and in other documents obtained through the DA's office and the town of Warren, though they only discussed to kill me and not Mary. In October 2015, DA police officer staff referred Mary Belrose and I to the Mass State Police Detective Unit, in which Mary and I met with them, and also turned over evidence that would prove all these claims to them. Today's answer, 2017 obviously, is the DA's office turned over that evidence that we turned in to prosecute those bad people in Warren, turned the records over to Chief Spakowski, the suspect, who we complained about, knew that all this stuff was going on and failed to act on behalf of the citizens and residents and voters and taxpayers of Warren. The DA, again, was grossly negligent for failure to investigate any life safety concerns that Mary Belrose and I had, including safety issues also with Brian Corvo. And I endured another rash of death threats from the Mass State Trooper who Mary and I had met with back then. He, the trooper, this is a state police trooper now, a detective, okay, who works closely with Mark Chase, who works closely with, and it turns out he works under the umbrella of the district attorney's office, which is the same people in East Brookfield Court. Those are Joe Early's people. So when you go complain that you're turning over evidence to arrest your own friends, you would think that you would be unbiased and be able to do that. But instead, DA Joe Early and the state trooper didn't do that. You protected the wrong people. So that's why this video and this evidence is now coming out, that I'm exposing it, because now that I know who you can trust and who you can't trust, District Attorney Joe Early cannot be trusted. I wouldn't trust him to do anything. I wouldn't even trust him to watch a dog, a pet, nothing. So anyhow, the state trooper threatened me, okay, and I have the cell phone records, and I also videotaped the conversation with the state trooper, that he threatened me with bodily harm if I further complained about Chief Bruce D. Spakowski, the chief of police in Warren, and problems in the town of Warren. So after he talked to Spakowski, and this is just hearsay information, I don't know what was said, but all I know is that it was saying that this is all bullshit or whatever, and blah blah blah. So the state police made the wrong decision to basically not listen to me and Mary Belrose, and now the state police are criminally negligent, as well as you would think a state police detective would be smart enough to be able to figure this out. But anyhow, so let me go on here. So the state police employees involved with the detective unit bear business cards in the authority of Worcester County District Attorney's Office, working for none other than Joe Early himself. So both state agencies, including the District Attorney's Office and the Mass State Police Worcester Detective Unit, are criminally responsible and civilly responsible as an agency and as individuals for the cover-up of the michaelbaril.info website, and including all the death threats that we provided evidence of that came out of the website by the three individuals in control of it, which includes a chief of police, a selectman, and the former Warren police detective, towards myself, Mary, and others. In closing, it looks like a variety of law enforcement employees and Warren representatives should be in jail where they belong, including jackass Joe Early himself, a disgrace of a human being, period. Respectfully submitted, Michael Baril. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go over, so that's that. So the next thing I'm going to go over is the postcards. Actually, you know what? I'm in a good mood. I'm going to show you these records next, okay? these are the GoDaddy.com subpoena records. Okay, so I'm going to explain this. Okay, so this is the first piece of paper. Okay, it's dated 4/27/2015. I'm going to have to go a little closer to the camera here. 5:48 p.m. And right here, okay, billing information, okay, hopefully you can see that. Right here it says Jimmy Jones, which is a fictitious name, obviously. And I knew it was Jimmy Jones a long time ago because, I won't say how, but basically I figured out Main Street in Southbridge is not the right thing. All it cares about is the billing zip code has to match for the credit card. So that's a fictitious address, Main Street. But the credit card is actually billed to, I believe it's Worcester Road in Southbridge, which is a co-worker of Warren police officer Mark Chase, who owns an apartment complex on Worcester Street in Southbridge, and that's where Mark Chase was living. And how do I know that? Because I have his retirement records, and it shows, including some of records from his personnel file, that shows that he was living at his co-worker's address in Southbridge. There's his daytime phone number. That's actually his cell phone number. So here is the credit card billing address, the credit card billing information right here. Name, Mark J. Chase. I kid you not. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to slander anybody. I'm just here to explain something and show you a piece of paper that shows that public records back up what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is true. Okay, so the credit card number is blacked out. That was done by me because the whole credit card number was visible when we got these records, and to protect Mark Chase's from somebody going shopping with his credit card, I did that. And then there's the expiration date right there, you can see. Now right here is the purchase of the domain host, the registration of the domain name. Total price $3.17, an awful lot of money, as you can tell. And then registration of the website, which he paid $7.99 a discount. And right there is the website, michaelbaril.info. So right here on this GoDaddy record, legal receipt for shopper ID, and that's the account for Jimmy Jones for Mark Chase. Okay, so that's, oh, okay. And then it says right here, I kid you not, to make sure this is proof, confidential treatment requested by GoDaddy Operating Company LLC. So I'm showing you that I didn't make this on my computer. It actually came from GoDaddy, the web hosting provider. Okay, so there's that piece of paper. Oh, I'm sorry. How could I forget this? And there's Detective Chase's real private email address. Detective, DET, at gmail.com. So if you were going to threaten somebody and you're a police officer, do you really think you have the brains that you would not think that somebody would subpoena these records when you commit a crime while you're working for us, our taxpayer money in the town of Warren? I guess so. Okay, next page. I'm going to try and make this quick because I have other stuff behind me to discuss too. Okay, this is another page. Basically, same information. There's the information. Domain name redemption of the thing. Jimmy Jones. There's the same phone number again. Okay. Okay, this is the account information right here. Okay. There's more papers than I have that I'm showing you. I'm only showing you the ones I feel that the public needs to see. I should say, I rephrase that. I'm showing you the documents that you, the voters of Warren, have not seen yet. And the selectmen, of course, will not give you this because the selectmen don't have it. Only I have it because I used a lawyer with a friend who basically paid to get these records and is participating or will participate in legal action against the voters and town officials and the town of Warren. Criminally and civilly. Again, here's the profile. Login name. Look at the login name, folks. Mike Baril. Okay, that's the GoDaddy.com account login information. Okay, Jimmy Jones, Main Street, Southbridge. There's his phone number. There's his real email address. And then on 4/27/15, the password was last changed by a password reset, verified by the fraud department, customer okay. And it was last changed. Now, okay, now you're thinking the 2015 election. Well, look when the password reset was changed. 1/15/2016 at 6:46 p.m. at night. So the following year, after the 2015 election, somebody reset the password. So that means that Jim Gagner was a capacity as a selectman, and then Mark Chase was still a legal employee of the town under our being paid by taxpayers, residents, citizens, voters. Okay, right here. Now you're going to love this one. When was the website created? I know that. You don't know that. Now I'm going to show you. Baril.info. Date the website was created 4/28/2015. So before the May election, on April 27th, I believe it was, is when the domain name was purchased, and on April 28th, the website went online the following day. And the website expires on this document 4/28/2016. And there's the order number. So, previous to the election, during the campaign, this website was purchased with possibly taxpayer money, or it was done with his personal credit card. But what will be exposed is I should explain. Let me reword it correctly here. So I will explain at some point in time, either in a lawsuit or on a camera, when the website was edited, uploaded, changed using the town's police department internet connection and or the selectmen's or town of municipal building, Shepherd building internet connection, which any page uploaded using a municipal internet connection in commission of a crime makes the town individual criminally and personally grossly negligent and open to a lawsuit. So that has already happened. I already have some of that information. I'm not going to disclose it, but yes. So when Mark Chase is at work and then he uploads any page, a picture, anything to that website, it is available through the IP address of the internet user, which obviously in this case became the town of Warren. I'm not going to get into that, as I said. That's something that will come up in the future. Okay. Domain for shopper ID. When he purchased the domain name, it had private registration, as you could see here. So that means that the user account information of who owns it is not available. They paid for private registration. Next is DNS entries. I'm not going to disclose that publicly because I'm not going to show you that page. Contact audit history. Billing information provided on 4/27/2015. Baril.info, domains by proxy, administrative technical contact. Again, Mark Chase responsible. You already paid for it. Remember that. Shopper contact audit history. Okay, information was changed. Okay, this was a change in 4/27/2015. This is a record of change in the account information. Previous value right here in this column. Change to in this column. The city was blank initially. Must have had a credit card billing thing, so Southbridge had to be filled in. Detective Chase added his email on 4/27/2015 at 5:28 p.m. detectivechase@gmail.com. He changed the account first name and last name to Jimmy Jones. He added a real cell phone number. And then Main Street, Southbridge. And then had to put in the Southbridge zip code because it wouldn't process without filling in an address connected to the credit card information. So now that I just proved to you who the three primary individuals responsible for the death threats, criminal behavior, and all that information right here in these records. The Town of Uxbridge Police Department is not aware of these records. The Uxbridge Police Department is involved with legal action with the Town of Warren, because I'm in another video going to explain how the Uxbridge Police Department is connected to the Town of Warren, and I'll give you a hint. It has to do with your canine dog. The Warren Police canine dog did not come from the Town of Warren. The Town of Uxbridge had applied for a grant, including the police officer in Uxbridge that harassed me, over me running for election in Warren, which nobody knows about that story yet, unless you go to the website and find the connection, is that has legal implications on the Town of Uxbridge. So what ended up happening is Town of Uxbridge got a canine first. Uxbridge, I'll say 2 individuals from Uxbridge Police were helping out the Warren Police Chief as a favor. Magically, Warren gets a canine dog. The applicant who wrote the grant application for the Town of Uxbridge is that same police officer that harassed me. I was not able to get the application from the Town of Warren, but it is allegedly believed to be written by the police officer from Uxbridge. Used the same application, just changed the Town of Uxbridge to the Town of Warren. Warren gets a canine. My information from Uxbridge is the funding of the grant money that the selectmen announced in Warren was not enough amount to have the dog for a period of time. Uxbridge Police started a fund, a canine fund for the Uxbridge Police canine. They started a Facebook page, and I have it on video 2 or 3 times in separate Board of Selectmen meetings that the Chief Spakowski, your chief, admitted thanking Chief Laurie from Uxbridge and Uxbridge Police and regarding all the information on the canine. So Uxbridge Police is not aware of that because they don't watch Town of Warren videos. But I have the records showing the 2 that are basically having, as a figure of speech, I call it a sexual relationship together, even though it's just a figure of speech. But maybe the right word to say on this video is that they're both criminally negligent, and that Uxbridge Police engaged in criminal behavior in the official capacity as police officers while in duty in the Town of Uxbridge, and are accomplices to the crimes committed by the Town of Warren. Just so you also know, the town of my lawyer that defended Brian Corvo also defended when I civilly sued Dario Nardi in small claims court, is the same Maya counsel for the Town of Uxbridge. And I dealt with that law firm. The gentleman is a very nice gentleman, and the woman is completely a bitch, the woman lawyer. So in other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is it was actually, according to the records of the law firm, I won't mention the name, that Dario Nardi was the one that contacted Uxbridge Police and or the Town of Uxbridge, is a generic term, and found the law firm, and then the Town of Warren hired the law firm that the Town of Uxbridge used in legal matters. So that's how I say that there is a deep connection in criminal collusion between the Town of Uxbridge and the Town of Warren, which when I announced that I was from the Town of Uxbridge, everybody says, well, you aren't born here, you didn't live here, you're from Uxbridge, who gives a crap about Uxbridge? Well, in another video, I'm going to explain how the 2 are criminally connected, and you can ask yourself, holy crap, the Town of Warren is deeply connected with the Town of Uxbridge, and those secrets will come out on how the Town of Warren used information from the Town of Uxbridge in exchange for the favors of the death threats on the website, because I ended up getting harassed in the Town of Uxbridge after I moved out of Warren because of the dangerousness issues of being threatened living at the residence on Southbridge Road, that I came to Uxbridge, and then I got criminal harassment issues from a certain police officer in Uxbridge. As I said, there's only 2 individuals that are bad apples on the Uxbridge Police Department, not the rest of them. The rest of them are very good people, but I'm only explaining what the records show and there was inappropriate behavior by 2 individuals on Uxbridge Police, that records from Warren in Uxbridge and records from the FBI or another federal agency, I won't disclose which one, showed that there was an exchange of information between the 2. So I don't blame Uxbridge Police for anything, but the finger points back to the 2 individuals from Uxbridge. So nobody from Uxbridge did anything else, just that the Chief Spakowski was phone calling the Uxbridge Chief of Police, having discussion with him. There was correspondence back and forth. I don't know how much. I'm not going to... I do somewhat know of an answer, but I'm not going to disclose it on video. So anyhow, I'm going to spend about, hopefully, 2 minutes in this. Now you want to know this answer. Michael Baril voter registration timeline. Okay, I'm going to just zip through this really quick. March 9, 2015, registered voter in the town of Uxbridge. March 10, 2015, I filled out the mail-in voter registration card to the address in Southbridge Road, Warren, and I'll just spend about 10 seconds explaining this. Why did I become a voter in the town of Warren? Well, the reason is because I was working full-time in the town of Warren Monday through Friday, and it was too much of a commute to go back and forth from Uxbridge to Warren that I wanted to live in Warren, and that's why I was renting a house there in Warren. So 3/10/2015, it's stamped right there by the Warren Town Clerk. Turn that in. March 11th, spits out a letter. You are hereby a registered voter in the town of Warren. Got my voting precinct, Precinct A. The assessment record card of the location of the address I was living at, which is a legal residence. Final notice of removal, 3/4/2015, just says I'm going to be removed. This is a letter from Uxbridge saying I was removed from the Uxbridge voter list. Okay, now moving back. Okay, so on Wednesday, June 17, 2015, this record right here shows that I changed my voting status from a Warren resident back to Uxbridge. And that was, I think, the day before or 2 days prior to this date was when I had met with the attorney and advised that I fear for my life and I no longer want to live in the town of Warren due to the harassment on the website. So, just so everybody at home knows, my peace of mind to you is I left because I was being threatened. I didn't leave because I didn't like you or didn't like the people of Warren. I do like the people of Warren. I left, and I'm being honest here, I left because I had to and had no other choice. It was not that I left that I hated people in Warren, people harassed me at the post office. None of that is true. The only harassment I had was from the website, and when they started posting pictures of the Southwood Road house that I was living at and police cars were out front that you already paid for. So intimidation is what pushed me out of town, but now that's why there's going to be pending litigation for voter fraud, for tampering with the campaign, and criminal behavior that's now going to be dealt with of employees of the police department, employees of the Board of Selectmen, and town representatives. Acknowledgement notice. Okay, now this is interesting. So in this packet here that I have prepared, not for completely for public use, but on 6/30/2015, okay, the anti-Mike Baril hate website changed, and this is what James Gagner and Mark Chase posted on this website, okay? So I'm going to just zoom in right here's the date, 6/30/2015. This is what the website looked at like at that time, okay? I'm going to read this to you, and you can see right here I put a post-it note that says website changed Monday, June 22nd, okay? I just read to you when I changed my voting status from Warren to Uxbridge, okay? And then this website is changed a few days after I changed my voting status. It was so secretive, I didn't even tell anybody. Not even my friends in Warren did I not tell that. And the website changed, which means that somebody from the town of Warren what am I trying to say? The town of Warren town clerk's office would have said something to the owners of the website to change the website. Or it was told to an employee of the police department who told the Mark Chase to edit the website. But I'll read it to you, okay? Because it's not a true statement. That's why I'm saying Mark Chase and James Gagner are personally liable for the content of this lawsuit for slander and libel. After lying about living on Southridge Road in Warren, which I just proved to you I wasn't lying because I was living there full time, Monday through Friday, in losing the selectmen's race by a landslide, Mikey relists as a registered voter in the town of Uxbridge, where he has always lived. Well, that wasn't true because I wasn't living in Uxbridge Monday through Friday, just Saturday and Sunday. He has stopped attending and recording the Warren Selectmen's meetings, which is true, that's true because I did stop attending the meetings because I was gathering evidence against the people involved, and has been a ghost in town. That's correct. That's because I disappeared because I was being threatened by the people that are paid by our money, our taxpayer money. He has been spending his time as a communications employee at the Palmer Racetrack, along with Daddy, which is my father, who is a flagger there. Now, nobody knows that information other than Palmer Motorsports Park. So, I have no idea how Palmer Motorsports Park information got to Detective Mark Chase on this website, or to Jim Gagner. So, it's possible, it was public information that people knew I worked for Palmer Motorsports Park. Warren is a better place without you. Keep it that way. Well, that's not happening. Okay, final notice of removal. Okay, you're going to love, now I'm going to go into this quick. Town of Warren, May 2015 elections, public records from the town clerk, Warren town clerk, okay? Oh, okay, I guess I do have this information. I couldn't remember what was in this packet. Okay, this is a photocopy of everybody who took out papers for the Tuesday, May 5, 2015 election, okay? Right here on this line, 3/11/2015, Michael J. Baril, that's me, obviously. My address, my P.O. Box in Warren that I've had there since 2007. Selectmen, okay? So there's the date I took out the paperwork, 3/11/15, okay? Now, wait a minute. I'm going to flip the page. On the next page, because you saw I was on the bottom line, right here. James Gagner, 3/11/2015, after I took out papers. James Gagner, his address 51 School Street, Selectmen, okay? So right there proves that I took out papers first and Gagner ran second. So if Gagner said to you, oh, I was always planning on running for selectman, not true. Okay, here's my nomination papers. Right here. Proof, as I said, I don't lie to anybody in Warren. So you want to see this evidence? Now you're going to see the evidence. Here's the date, 3/16/2015. Time 1:50 p.m. Michael Baril, nomination papers, Debbie Lacasse, over the counter, 1 page. James Gagner, okay? Now I'm just going to point out something here, okay? I turned in my papers on 3/16/2015. James Gagner and I took out papers on 3/11/2015 that I just showed you. Look at when James Gagner turned in the paperwork of all those signatures he needed. 3/11/2015 at 3:50 p.m. So Gagner just picked up his election papers and needing signatures at, 1 p.m. and at 3:50 p.m. he's got all the signatures and he's magically already back turning in the papers. And then here's the election results, which I have, that shows Mike Baril, total 194 votes, James Gagner, 552. And that was obviously the election on May 5, 2015. All right, so that's that paperwork. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the postcard mistake by Turley. Because I wanted to, instead of saving the most interesting stuff for the end of the tape, I decided to put it in the beginning of the tape. So So right here, and I'm going to show you the email, so I'm just going to read it to you. Friday, May 1, 2015 at 11:24 a.m. It's from Lisa Morelli from Turley Publications to myself and Mary Belrose and Stanley Soltis. Hello. We, myself, Beth Baker, Advertising Director, and Keith Turley, who's the president of Turley Publications, met with Stanley and Beverly Soltis this morning to discuss the wrong information on the political postcards that were printed here at Turley Publications. Keith and Stanley agreed to have a meeting today at 12:30 p.m. at the Senior Center and to also invite Mr. James Fountain, parentheses, I'm sorry I could not remember his first name, so she left out James Fountain, but she listed Mr. Fountain, and any others that will join. Keith will have a new file of the postcard that you can upload on social media, websites that will show the correction. I am so sorry for this error. Have a nice weekend. Thank you, Lisa Morelli, Advertising Representative, Turley Publications, 413-283-8393 or 413-283-3779, extension 244. And she lists the website www.turley.com. So then I asked this question from myself: who is the individual responsible for screwing up my postcards? Records here, kid you not. Hi Lisa, does a woman named Stephanie Hatley, unsure in the exact last name, work for Turley Publications? If so, what department does she work for or work in? Respectfully submitted, Mike Baril. The answer is, hi Mike, yes, Stephanie is a manager here. You can contact her at, gives her email address. Thank you, have a great day, Lisa. That's not all, this gets better. So, all I know about Stephanie Hadley is that she was a town representative who was on the Warren Planning Board. At the time of this incident, she was on the planning board, which means that she would have been a representative of the town of Warren, even though she's not a direct town employee. But she was serving in the capacity as a individual representing the town of Warren. So if there was any matters in any official town capacity, that town council could cover something. But anyhow, so this confirms that one town official, not saying it's Stephanie that was responsible for the postcard, that Stephanie worked there. Now, this gets better. And then I asked Lisa, was she part of my postcard issue or not involved at all? And then the answer is that the owner of Turley, Keith, refuses to name the employee who is personally responsible as a employee of Turley and could not disclose that information because it would be exposing employee information. And then I says that I have a valid legal case in tampering with the election process, intimidation of candidates, slander against me, death threats, and other candidates having people steal my signs, which included municipal employees, and so forth. And that it's also so related, or very related, or connected to Jim Fountain's actions. And as you know, Jim Fountain is a resident of Warren. And then I left several voicemails for Keith to call me back, and he never did. So in other words, he had a public hearing himself that he came to the Warren Senior Center on that day at 12:30 p.m. and announced that Turley had screwed up the postcards. It was that he included responsibility for it. And then up here, as you'll see right behind me, Jim Fountain, who's a resident of Warren, great friends with all the people from the police department, he did inappropriate stuff. Dispatcher Pensinger did inappropriate stuff. The chief of police did inappropriate stuff. The selectmen did inappropriate stuff. and I'll go over that. Here's an email on May 6, 2015. I'm just going to zip through these and I'll get to what's behind me. I asked Selectman Nardi, to confirm that Mr. James Fountain had dropped off official records to be considered a town public record of his document relating to a political flyer or candidacy for the Board of Selectmen seat. Mr. Dario Nardi replies back, I did see the letter from Mr. Fountain. He then claims he does not know how it magically arrived within the Shepherd building. He says I should ask Lorena. I then emailed to Lorena. She then pointed the finger at the selectmen, saying that the selectmen had asked Jim Fountain to bring the document forward. Then I suggested, well, why did the selectmen's officer accept and publicly display a notice related to campaigning and voting prior to the elections that was publicly displayed, and Mr. Jim Fountain's Mr. Jim Fountain's documents contained false allegations and false statements that when voters read it, it would persuade voters to change their vote while in your own municipal building office. And then I says, furthermore, why are our taxpayer-funded municipal employees in possession with Jim Fountain's letter since it became a town public record? Oops, I'm missing a page here. Oh, record when it was handed into your office. Okay, here's another email on, it's the same email. Okay, that's the one I forwarded to Dario Nardi. That says, Dario Nardi, speaking for our office only, a letter sent to our office is in fact a public record document. Documents that are received are left on the table for the board members to review, including correspondence. So right there is an admission from Dario Nardi that he accepted a false and malicious letter from Jim Fountain that blamed me for the postcard error after and I'm going to show you and I read you the email, I'm going to show it to you on camera, that Turley had advised Jim Fountain and myself that Turley was responsible for the error on the postcards. In Dario Nardi, including the selectmen, including the town clerk, Nancy Lowell, including the assistant town clerk at the time, and that's where this takes a twist, is, let me see if I have that. I might have to explain it, but I'll explain that right now, is the assistant town clerk to Nancy Lowell during the May 2015 elections was also an employee of Turley Publications. I don't know what department. I don't know what that woman did. I don't on camera recall what her name is, but I have it in my records and it's not in the emails in front of me right here. So, two representatives, and Nancy Lowell confirmed this in that email, which I do have, that her assistant town clerk was a part-time employee paid by Turley, part-time during the week, and she was working for the town clerk's office, including voter registration, voting machines, and everything else, while she was employed at Turley and while she was employed under our taxpayer money, being paid as the assistant town clerk a salary there as well. So those two individuals are very suspicious who would be able to, and remember, I said the woman that created the postcard had no statement on the bottom, and then when the postcards are printed, then they noticed the statement on the bottom. So somebody went and edited the computer file and added that statement, and it was not the lady, according to Turley's public admission, that it was not the lady who created the postcard. So right there proves that somebody with power and abuse and ethics issues and conflict of interest issues had Turley intentionally, in my opinion, edit the postcard to create controversy, which I find suspicious that Jim Fountain was the first one to write a letter saying that I committed fraud when he attended the meeting. He posted these up, I think after, I believe they were posted after Jim Fountain was present with me when Turley admitted that they screwed up the postcards. So all I was asking for Jim Fountain was to remove these documents and not post them, but instead they stayed posted in the Shepherd building and the Board of Selectmen allowed it, which included Dario Nardi, because they were there, and I asked several times in email that they be removed, and they were not. So, okay, next thing. You're going to love this one. May 2015 election again. Turley Publications reporter Jennifer Robert. Pardon my thing. Oh, okay. I got the answer right there. Okay. Jennifer Robert, which I'll explain in these, was a reporter for Turley Publications. So on Monday, July 6, 2015, okay, this is after the election, this was my, I think, 7th complaint that I had filed against Jennifer Robert to Turley Publications, directly to the owners of Turley, and none of the complaints were ever addressed. I went there several times, refused to do anything for the complaint. And my complaint was against Jennifer Robert as a reporter, that she was biased in the stories that showed up. I wanted her to put in the newspaper my issue of the voter fraud that I brought up to her attention, including Turley's attention, including the screw-up of the postcards. I wanted that in their newspaper before the election so people know that the stuff that Jim Fountain was spreading around was not true, and Turley refused to do that. So anyhow, I was advised that I can't, we can't get into personal issues and personnel issues, and they just said that Jennifer Roberts no longer works there. So after she did the article about me and James Gagner running for selectman, which is up here, and then she put in the comment that Baril declined to interview about his candidacy, that was not true, because Turley and Jennifer Robert, as an individual personal reporter, personally employed through Turley Publications. I have the text messages still between me and Jennifer Robert that will be used in the lawsuit against Turley Publications and against the town of Warren, that she wanted me to do an interview with her, me and Jennifer Robert personally. And I says, no, I want additional people there because you're going to write a story to what you want and what you want the Warren voters to see. And I want several people, residents from the town of Warren, to be standing there when you do my interview, and she refused that. She wanted an interview one-on-one. She was going to ask me the questions. I complained to her that I didn't trust her. She called me a few F words in the text messages, and that's why this complaint came out in July. And when the complaint came out in July, Jennifer, at some point above, I'll explain, is she was, I believe, in my opinion, terminated from Turley Publications because my complaints were true and correct, that she was basically in cahoots with the town of Warren police chief in the police department and publishing what they wanted. So when Brian Corrill was bad and did something, that was in the newspaper. When I complained that the selectmen spent tens of thousands of dollars of abusive money on public records requests that I submitted for Chief Spakowski's timesheets, that there's no reason why the town should have spent $4,000 to $5,000, whatever the exact number was, for the chief not to give me his timesheets because he doesn't want to turn over his timesheets to show that he doesn't work 40 hours a week for the $90,000. So I wanted Turley to expose that to the public, that every records request I did, town council got involved, the selectmen did it, initiated it, spent our money, and I'm guessing probably $75,000 has been spent on records requests that I asked, and were never turned over. Either they were turned over, they were redacted, or I still to this day in 2017 don't have Chief Spakowski's timesheets because the town lied and didn't want to provide them. I do have that information here. I apologize. It's right here behind me in this page. Debbie Lacasse was an employee was the assistant town clerk at the time, and when asked Turley Publications to confirm whether she works there and did she have anything to do with the postcards again, I asked again twice in the same email, and as we stated before from Turley Publications, I'm not going to specifically comment about any employees that we have. And I then said, well, you said the other one was not responsible for doing the postcard, so it could it be Debbie Lacasse? And then no answer on that. So, as I said, and I'll refresh your memory, it was Nancy Lowell, who's been the town clerk for a long time, I get along with her, I don't have any issue with her, who admitted to me publicly in email that Debbie Lacasse was working for Nancy Lowell, in charge of the voting machines, as a representative of the town of Warren, possibly friends with James Gagner, I don't know, but was also an employee of Turley. So that is obviously, to me, a red flag of ethics issues, voting fraud or whatever. So do I trust the town clerk's office? Absolutely not, since now I know this information, because I certainly didn't screw up the postcards. Turley did, and Turley admitted it was somebody who was obviously asked or ordered to edit the postcards to what the opposite side, James Gagner, the police department, chief of police, Mark Chase, what they wanted the postcards to say. And I never authorized it. Other people who were on my campaign never authorized that statement to be there. And as I said, Turley took responsibility for it. So if you're upset at me for being mad at my postcards, then go right ahead. Why don't we, join in a class action lawsuit and sue Turley, and I'll give you, 10, 15,000, whatever you want. If you're upset by my postcards, I don't mind sharing a settlement with any of you. So if you're a Warren voter and you want to sue Turley Publications with me, go right ahead. I don't care. You want to sue Jim Fountain? Go right ahead, because now I'm going to explain this. So, okay, this is the same thing. Okay, so that's pretty much it that I have to explain. As I said, I'm not going to get into detail on the 2014 election. I'm just focusing, this video is just specifically on the voter fraud, town participating fraud, town officials participating in voter fraud, campaign fraud, election fraud, all of that all in the same thing. So now I'm going to show you these documents that I have behind me. There's actually hundreds and hundreds of more pages. This is just these are the ones I selected to show publicly. But now you're going to see firsthand how I was stabbed in the back, how I was lied to, and how I feel deceived that the bad people in the town of Warren misrepresented me. So I do have a statement to say before I end this video, before I go over this. If you voted for me, thank you. If you did not vote for me, thank you. As I said, or as I haven't shared, when I did my election in my campaigning, I did not have a Facebook account. There was no Twitter account. There was no social media account. I didn't have an office. I didn't have a campaign phone number. I didn't have a campaign. I had signs, I had people, and word of mouth. That's all I wanted, because this, what's behind me, is going to be used to sue a variety of people, including town officials, the town clerk's office, the town of Warren Board of Selectmen, the selectmen as individuals, and everybody else involved, which probably exceeds up to, I don't know, 25, 30, 40 people. I really don't care. A lawyer is actually going to determine who's getting sued. So, but I'm going to show you these records behind me, and it shows really inappropriate behavior of your town officials saying slanderous and trashy stuff about me. And what I want to say is, I'm a very simple person. I didn't win the election, so what? Do I look like I'm mad? I talk to people all the time in Warren now, since I've been around the past 2 years or whatever, after the little short disappearance. I have nothing against anybody. I don't hate the people in the town of Warren. If you don't like me, so be it. Do I hate you? No, I don't hate you. I'm a person that gets along with everybody. And I didn't win, so be it. But look, we're now this. So in other words, so you might have voted for James Gagner saying, I don't like that Baril guy. Mike Baril causes trouble for Oxford police back a long time ago, whatever, and you didn't vote for me. Well, you know what? This is biting everybody in the ass, because now it's going to cost taxpayers money. It's going to expose the truth that the elections were fixed in 2014 and 2015. It's going to show voter fraud, election fraud, campaign tampering, criminal behavior of employees of the police department, criminal behavior of the Board of Selectmen members back then, criminal behavior on Jim Gagner that's now coming out. I could, how I'm in a happy mood right now, just so you understand, I'm in a happy mood because I ran a simple campaign. I don't need to threaten people. I don't need to steal Jim Gagner's signs. I don't need to spray paint anything. I don't need to disrespect people. If I've talked to people at the Warren Post Office and they say, well, I know Jim Gagner, I know him 5 years, I'm going to vote for him. Good, go right ahead. Do I sit there and punch you in the face? Do I speak rude to you? No, I never did. Zero. That's exactly how my campaign is different from James Gagner. I did zero anything wrong. No fraud, no threatening people, no Facebook messages. I saw all the stuff. I have my own records that show I never replied once to any of this Facebook trash and slandering of me, police officers calling me carpetbaggers, police officers wishing I was dead, police officers saying that I should get in a car accident and die, residents in Warren saying, send them back to Uxbridge. Yes. Did I see those statements? Yes. But it just shows you how stupid people are to get involved with social media. You might have the right to your free speech, but you don't have the right to threaten people. And I ran a campaign that I didn't have to threaten anybody. How did Jim Gagner run his campaign? He deceived everybody. Now he's the selectman. And look where this is leading. He was in charge of that website with your police detective, and the website continued and was edited by James Gagner while he was in capacity of a selectman. And taxpayer money also paid for all the stuff. Like I said, this segment is called You Already Paid For It, But You Don't Know About It, and Now You're Going to Know About It. So that's all I have to say. Thank you to the residents of Warren. Thank you to the voters of Warren. And thank you for anybody else in Warren, if you're in between that or whatever. So, as I said, I'm going to expose this, and then there's going to be another video about the 2014 election fraud, and on that video, town council that you paid $20,000 for, supposedly, allegedly, that was authorized by the Board of Selectmen, that they didn't publicly tell you that they spent that money when Brian Corvo sued, but you're going to find out that Bob Downing, who was chairman of the Board of Selectmen, ordered employees to steal signs of Mary Belrose didn't have many signs missing, but Brian Corvo had lots of signs going missing. In my campaign, signs were missing, and I suspected municipal employees all along. Do I look like I'm happy? Yes. Why am I happy? Because now I'm going to sue the town officials for stealing my signs. But you know what? You can't sue me, and you can't file criminal charges against me for the theft of signs of larceny under 250 and charge me with that, because I instructed my people. I don't care if Jim Gagner has 4,000 signs up there. You are not to steal a sign, and as far as I know, none of my people that put up signs stole any of Jim Gagner's signs. I had my signs stolen, so obviously the suspects are all Jim Gagner's friends, including municipal employees that stole my signs. But I'm happy to say and testify in a court of law that my people did not steal any signs, did not threaten any people, and whatever. But on the opposite side, that's exactly what happened, and I got victimized. So, as I said, I didn't do any of it. It was all done by the wrong people. So if you voted for Jim Gagner, now look at the messes that is now coming forward, and that, is Jim Gagner going to fess up to this and say, hey, I did some really inappropriate stuff? If I'm sued, is he going to hire a lawyer for the town of Warren? Because remember, he ran for selectman as an individual prior to him being elected, which means that if I were to sue Jim Gagner or file criminal charges against him or seek a criminal indictment against him for committing crimes in election fraud and defrauding the voters of Warren, he would need a lawyer. But I'm not paying for that lawyer with my tax money. The town, you should not be paying for his lawyer for the tax money. He should pay for it. So let him come up with $300,000 to defend himself when he's sued civilly and charged with crimes of this fraudulent election. And then should he, because he's now chairman of the Board of Selectmen to this date, should he be spending Maya council money or any taxpayer money to defend him from being sued? The answer is no, because Maya does not cover lawsuits that are of a personal nature that are not related to town official business. So what Jim Gagner did prior to the election is all on him personally. So no taxpayer money should be spent to have him use any town council to defend anything. So I'm going to end it there. I don't want to talk too long. This is going to take a couple minutes to explain, so let me get to this. Okay, so now for the continuation of the video. So this is the information. Keith Turley is the president, they said, of Turley Publications. There's the information there. And then right here is the document. Former Turley Publications reporter for the Quaboag Current covers Warren. After my postcard incident elections, my verbal complaint to owner Keith Turley, someone in town heard that she was no longer employed as a 1099 miscellaneous correspondent. My email to Eileen Kennedy, the new editor, confirmed that she no longer works there. And that's Jennifer Roberts, obviously information from the Town of Records Assessor's Database, and she's now married and is now Jennifer R. Walters. Okay, this was the article that she did. I know you can't see it too well. That was published on 4/3/2015, Selectmen's Seat to See contest, and you can see it's by Jennifer Robert right there. This article basically talks about Jim Gagner, so you can see how much exposure. He's on the fire department. He's worked there 13 years. Whoopie-doo-dah, like I really care. And then all it says about Mike Baril, which is I didn't give her authorization to even say anything, and this is what she posted. Baril declined to interview about his candidacy, which is obviously a lie, and obviously I complained to Turley Publications that was not the case. I do have the text messages between myself and Jennifer Robert that proves that she was in criminal collusion with James Gagner about getting James Gagner to win, and of course she didn't want to do a story on me because then it would influence the public to then vote for me. So she wanted to make this story. Turley cannot confirm or deny that that's the case because they fired Jennifer Robert, or they supposedly fired Jennifer Robert. But basically, yeah, so she was doing, in my opinion, as a favor for James Gagner to make him look like the hero and me look like an idiot. So, okay, this is a printout of a Facebook page. This is from April 2, 2015 at 4:09 p.m. Keith Nicholas is a police officer in Warren, as you know. Enough said. Baril declined to interview about his candidacy. So here's Keith Nicholas, a town official. I don't know whether he's on duty at this time or off duty, but posting in Facebook, which is his right. He can say what he wants. It's right to free speech. But is this a true statement? No, because I just explained to you that Jennifer Roberts screwed up the interview and wanted to do it one-on-one and would not allow other people there. So in other words, I could have told her saying, I want to better the town by this reason, and she could have printed whatever she wanted. So, and anyhow, yes. Okay, so here's right here. So you can see it, May 1st, 2015, 11:24 a.m. There's the email right there. Mail postcards paid for mistake from Lisa Morelli. Right there, and there's her signature. So here is what I read to you, and here is the email on May 1, 2015 at 11:24 a.m. that shows that Turley was responsible for the error on the postcard. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the next component, okay? I'm going to bring you down here and I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you some stuff of Jim Fountain, okay? And, okay, so Warren Citizens Action Committee announcement, okay? And actually I'll bring you to this one right here. So these are all, let me back up here a step. So these are all evidence that I have. And here's one piece of evidence here. So here's the letter that the Warren Board of Selectmen and municipal offices posted for Jim Fountain, okay? And here's what it says. It's dated 4/30/2015. Okay, so there's my answer, okay? Lisa Morelli's email is dated May 1, 2015, when is the public admission from Turley. So Jim should have gone back and removed these, and he never removed these. He'd allowed these to stay there, which makes Jim Fountain in the town of Warren responsible for false advertising and false and malicious public records that were publicly displayed in a municipal building, and these were displayed in the offices. So here's what Jim Fountain writes, in case you can't read this. An advertisement endorsing one of the candidates for selectman was sent to Warren residents. This advertisement incorrectly stated it was paid for by the Warren Citizens Action Committee. Our committee made it very clear from the beginning that we make decisions as a board. At no time was this endorsement discussed as a committee, voted as a committee, or paid for by the committee. The Warren Citizens Action Committee is committed to asking important questions and doing research on issues related to our town, not to serve as a special interest group. Our committee did not fund this advertisement. To claim that our committee endorses this candidate is false advertising. Thank you, in Jim Fountain's signature, Jim Fountain, Committee Chairman. So Jim Fountain is, in my opinion, liable, according to legal advice, for spreading the false rumors, but that's not what I'm focusing on here. So on 5/5/2015, you can see the date. I put the paid for by Turley postcard mistake on top of Jim Fountain's document, okay? Now, I forget what's what. So this is on a bulletin board, okay? This one here is in the I believe this is the Selectmen's meeting room. So this one is on display by the current Board of Selectmen, which I just proved to you that the Selectmen displayed this as a public record and also sought town council advice to display it. So it would be really inappropriate for a town to display that because it could influence the election. But the town participated in influencing the election by displaying Jim Fountain's document that's dated 4/30 that I just explained to you on May 1st. Jim Fountain knew this was not true. That Turley and then Jim Fountain never changed the letter saying, I just found out that Turley fabricated and falsified Mike Baril's postcards. So it wasn't the Warren Citizens Action Committee that was the victim. It was Mike Baril that was the victim, and the responsible party is Turley Publications, the one you read your newspaper with. So, okay. This is in the Nancy Lowell's office. I took a picture same day, 5/5/15. Nancy Lowell is public in the town clerk's office, figure this, is publicly displaying Jim Fountain's letter. And when I told her it was inappropriate and their office should be sued, she magically took this piece of paper and stuck it in the shredder and shredded it. So what does that tell you, folks? If your own town clerk's office is influencing the election and her co-worker works for Turley Publications, how retarded is that? How can that not be fraud? How can it not be an ethics issue? You'd have to be the biggest moron to understand that it's totally, everybody's in bed with one another. Okay, next one. 5/1/2015. Okay, Lisa Pensinger, okay? Lisa Pensinger says, I have proof at what I say. Can this candidate say the same? He attempted to defame my character. Many people in town, state police, environmental police, Uxbridge PD, and town leaders. Are we going to allow this to happen over and over with him? He has already cost the town a substantial amount of money in legal fees for frivolous reasons. Well, the answer to that, Dispatcher Pensinger, is the selectmen are the one that get town council to not give me the records that are records that should be made to the public. Lauren Gagner, Jim Gagner's wife, says, may I ask where this statement came from? Lisa Pensinger, I have a copy right here in front of me if you want to come and get it. It's from Jim Fountain. And it also is on the Access Channel. Oh, it shouldn't be on the Access Channel, sweetie, because the Access Channel is cable TV, not the elections. Lauren Gagner, Lisa, I'll be down in 10 minutes. Thank you. Well, thank you, Lauren Gagner, on April 30th at 1:49 p.m. Scott Mansfield from town, just say no. Hey, it's your right to say what you want. Scott Mansfield, I would love to see the eligibility for selectmen removed from the ballot. Scumbag liar. Well, I didn't lie. Your own people did. Keith Nicholas, right here. April 30th at 3:17 p.m. Telling everybody he doesn't really live in town. He just rented a place a few months ago to establish a residency, but he still lives with his parents in Uxbridge. Has mostly negative relations with just about every department in town. Has no real connection to care for the town. As you know, that's not true because I wouldn't be exposing how everybody got shammed in the election if I wasn't doing this. Uses false advertising. Well, thank you, Keith Nicholas, for telling me that Mike Baril is doing false advertising when I just proved to you that Jim Fountain is the one that's doing the false advertising of the postcard. But no, but that wasn't corrected on the on Facebook. He shouldn't even be on the ballot, and he certainly doesn't deserve the consideration of a vote. Well, it turns out I'm perfectly legal because I consulted an election lawyer before I filled out the paperwork. Okay, another thing right here. This is on 5/5/15, more Facebook posts. And this, by the way, is all on Elect Jim Gagner's Facebook page. And if you think I have 10 pieces of paper, you're crazy. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages that were printed on a daily basis. All the posts, all the users, everything has been saved electronically. So there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of pages of all the stuff. So here's Ed Krakowitz from town, which is Jim Gagner's friend. Good luck and thank you for stepping up for the good of our town. Yeah, whoopee-doo-dah. May 4th, 2015. Joseph LaFlower, who's the police sergeant, Sergeant LaFlower. Elect Jim Gagner for selectman. No carpetbaggers allowed. Okay, well, for those of you, I interviewed Sergeant LaFlower while on duty at the Warren Police Department and asked him what carpetbagger. Carpetbaggers refers to as a slave. So I'm being called from your police sergeant a carpetbagger or slave. And he posted that on May 4, 1:15 p.m. in 2015. Okay, here's another one, 5/1/2015, another statement. April 28th, a different post. No carpetbaggers allowed. Joseph R. LaFlower, at James Stockley, especially someone who nitpicks about stupid things at selectmen's meetings. He thinks the law doesn't apply to him. Well, Sergeant LaFlower, you're the one that's the public asshole here, so I wouldn't, so you can say what you want then, but I got you caught now. Lisa Pensinger, at April 29, 2015, 7:42 in the morning. If the other candidate cared about this town at all, he wouldn't be spewing hate on his web pages, and also wouldn't be costing this town a ton of cash for legal fees and frivolous things they have to address because of him. Well, I'm sorry, Dispatcher Pensinger. You're the one that allegedly posted pornographic stuff using the police computer that I complained about. And the Chief of Police, Bruce D. Spakowski, says in a public statement to my face, quote, She has been talked to, but not disciplined, and she is allowed to post whatever she wants on a town public computer. Well, folks, I have something special to tell you. When Lisa Pensinger posted this, I'm sorry, not posted that one. When Lisa Pensinger posted this on April 30th, okay, and right here, this one, Lisa Pensinger's Facebook page, okay, April 30, 2015, when that was posted. And then this was posted again from Lisa Pensinger to the James Gagner Town of Selectmen website. This is printed after Jim Gagner changed the name of the page because it said Elect Jim Gagner. Kathy Allard Fountain, which is Jim Fountain's wife, posted on April 30, 2015 at 5:55 p.m. posted this comment. Well, folks, here's the thing. Lisa Pensinger, and I have her timesheet, she was working for the police department as a dispatcher that day. And she posted these on the town police computer, which is a taxpayer-funded computer, and used the town internet connection. So these posts that you see right here are basically were posted while she was an employee of the town, which makes the town responsible for her content for slander and libel. So you can thank Dispatcher Pensinger for the police department in the town of a future lawsuit for disseminating false and malicious information using the town government internet connection in the town police department computer. So you say, well, whoopee-doo-dah, but as I said, it makes the town responsible, and she's supposed to be doing police work, not posting stuff about the election, which means that she's influencing the election using town assets and resources and taxpayer-funded equipment, which is a no-no for that. So this one here, I'll go back to this one, okay. April 30th, I don't have the time on this. From the Warren Citizen Action Committee announcement, here is the reply. And it basically says the same thing, thank you, Jim Fountain. Now, she had an electronic version of this, is how she cut and pasted this here, because this is exactly the same version as this. Is it turns out Chief Spakowski forwarded her Jim Fountain's email, I found out, and then she cut and pasted this from the Microsoft Word document, and then that's why it's exactly how it says, thank you, Jim Fountain, but there's no signature, okay? Now this one here, not sure how many people got got the mail, elect Baril postcards in the mail. It says at the bottom, paid for by Warren Citizens Action Committee. According to a member of that committee, meaning Jim Fountain, they don't have the funds to pay for anything, and they did not pay for anything towards this campaign. Do you want this kind of honesty to help run the town? I know I don't. Please vote for James Gagner, the right choice for our town, the best choice for our town, and the only choice. So right here is Pensinger using town assets and resources while she's working, campaigning for Jim Gagner, which is basically a criminal fraudulent action by using the police computer, 2, the town's internet connection. And she does have the right for free speech, but she's using town assets and resources and taxpayer and voter funded equipment to post her opinion. If she did it from at her house while she wasn't working, perfectly legal and legit, but the town police chief and Sergeant LaFleur and all the police and herself and the town selectmen are responsible for that. Lauren Gagner on April 27, 2015 at 9:03 p.m. I think Scott Mansfield is onto something. If there is a sign unlawfully placed on your property, and that wasn't the case with my election, then it is your property to do so as pleased. So in other words, so Lauren Gagner is telling people that if a Mike Baril sign is on your property illegally placed, steal my sign, consider it a gift, and spray paint a red circle with a line through it. Not only will it prevent the replacing of signs taken down, it sends a strong message. So here's Jim Gagner's wife, stupidly in a public Facebook post, admitting, please go steal Mike Baril signs, consider it a gift, and spray paint a red circle with a line through it, and send Mike Baril a message to prevent the replacing of signs, which means that if I buy 50 signs and 10 are stolen, I only have 40 left, it will send a strong message. Well, yeah, Lauren Gagner, dumbass of James Gagner, yes, please go steal my signs so I can charge you with larceny and file criminal charges against all those who stole the signs, and then you vandalize my sign by putting a red circle with a line through it, and then you say, oh, please consider it a gift. Well, that's not the case of Brian Corrival in court. Brian Corrival can file criminal charges against the town employees for larceny under 250 for stealing the sign because it's property of Brian. So it's the same law applies to Jim Gagner, that applies to Mike Baril, that applies to anybody running for office. So here's Lauren Gagner telling people, please go steal Mike Baril signs. Well, thank you for doing that, because now your ass is being sued. So Jim Gagner's got lots of problems here, and if this don't put the icing on the cake, Kathy Allard Fountain on 5/11/2015 from West Warren, Massachusetts, added by James Gagner 2 months ago. So Kathy Allard Fountain is already in bed with James Gagner, who's on the Elect Jim Gagner page. So of course she's going to post all the trashy, slanderous stuff. So thank you, Kathy Allard Fountain, for doing this, because now it proved to me that you were equally responsible with your husband, Jim Fountain, for disseminating false information. Okay, so here's the other thing I'm going to show you right here. This is a secret piece of paper. Nobody knows about this, but now you're going to see it for the first time. This is from, right here, Ann Goby, State Senator, and Todd Smola right here. Carbon copy, Mary Belrose. September 23, 2015, right here. The Honorable Joseph Early Jr., District Attorney, Worcester County, Worcester, Mass. Letter from Mary Belrose dated 9/19/2015. Dear District Attorney Early, we hope this letter finds you well. Our respective offices received copies of a letter from Ms. Belrose of Warren, copy enclosed. It appears on August 28, 2015. Ms. Belrose, Brian Corrival, and Michael Baril, that's me, met with your employee Tim Connolly to brief him in on their concerns. We would ask that your office reach out directly to Ms. Belrose with any further information or advice that might be helpful in addressing concerns for their safety. Now, that's another proof why I moved out of the town of Warren. If Ann Goby's office and Todd Smola have to write a letter to the DA, Joe Early, who's obviously a piece of shit state employee now that I've exposed that he lied in the documents, this was ignored by his office. And we continued to have problems with our safety after this letter was written all the way through 2016. So it was the advice of State Senator Ann Goby's office that legal action should be pursued in the fraud of the election in 2015, and that the town and its insurance provider, as well as the individuals responsible, should be civilly sued and legal action should be taken. And that was in a direct email from Senator Goby's office. So you can see that I'm not lying when I says I moved out of Warren addressing concerns for their safety. And that's why I don't live there anymore. So if your life's in danger, don't live there. And remember, it's the same three people that are completely responsible. And then, as I said, there was harassment here when I came to Uxbridge that also transpired as well, from harassment from Uxbridge police, directly connected through the records between Uxbridge and Warren that were publicly obtained. So that's all I have for you. Thank you for watching. As you can see, there is more than enough evidence to prove that the 2015 election was fraudulent. Taxpayers, voters, anybody should be financially compensated and refunded tens of thousands of dollars for the fraud that was pulled over the wool of their eyes. And that is why I'm here for you, is I am seeking a possible class action lawsuit in which all the voters and any taxpayers in the town of Warren would be refunded tens of thousands of dollars in taxpayer-funded money to come from a settlement from the lawsuit. And it is my opinion that all Warren residents deserve a financial tax refund in compensation for the fraud that was pulled over the wool over your eyes. So that's basically it. And again, thank you for watching. There will be more videos coming forward with additional evidence on all sorts of things.